Hello and welcome to the Huddlecast. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here with Cody, who is now on the producer stand.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So Mark is on his honeymoon, and he'll be back soon. So, yeah. Is it bad that after this year, 2025, I now consider honeymoons just a home moon from, the best show ever?
It's great.
Do you know what show I'm talking about, Ryan?
I'm not sure I do.
Demon Hunter.
Oh, K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
I watched
I've seen that.
just the ending with my children last night because that's what they wanted to see. Daddy, we want to see the ending. I was like, okay, so we watched it, and just every time I watch it, I go, "This is a masterpiece."
Yeah,
this movie is amazing.
Eli Brooks came over with the boys, and he's like, "Let's put on K-pop Demon Hunter." I was like, "Oh, I watched it yesterday." He's like, "You did?" I was like, "Yeah, I was just sitting in the counter in the kitchen, just turned it on, and just had it running." Like,
it's just like your comfort movie.
I just listening and jamming. It was good, but
I mean, it genuinely is good though. And I mean, the cool thing is like the elements. Like we were talking about this, offline, but like we were talking about how like the elements are really like Christian based, right? Like that what Gima uses to like control them is their shame, and like I think it's there's some good parallels there. But
yeah. I had 3 pop culture aha moments last year.
Ooh,
which has nothing to do with our topic.
All right,
for today.
Number 1, what was it? Number
K-pop
1,
Demon Hunter.
Okay, number 2.
It was a movie. The next 2 are movies.
Okay,
they're all movies.
Okay,
any guesses?
Predators, Badlands.
Predators, Badlands.
Yeah,
was it insanely good?
And then the third one, I know what the third one is because I by process of elimination,
I put it on. Usually, I put it on Facebook. Yeah,
Anaconda.
Yeah, crazy good.
I want to see it so bad.
I laughed till I cried so many times.
Like one of those. It's so bad it's good.
No, it was so good. It's good. Yeah.
They're making fun of it being so bad.
Yeah, the whole time they're really
funny.
good actors acting terribly as actors. That's the whole shtick. But I mean, I watched the original in like 1995 when I was in high school, and so it was just crazy to see that come back around in pop culture and in a better way, because the one was really horribly filmed back in the day. But it was just like my kids went, my 2 boys went, and I'm like, they're not gonna. This is probably gonna be a dumb movie, but we were just trying to spend time together. And I just thought this is gonna be a waste of time.
Carrick told me it was so
money.
funny.
It was so funny.
And Carver's like every single moment you think like, okay, this is gonna drag on. It just got funnier and funnier.
Fun.
And speaking of good actors acting like they can't act well, there's just something to that is funny. Because when Mark did that for the play that we did, the murder mystery dinner, I was crying laughing. Yeah. So this is the funniest thing ever.
Like Paul Rudd's in it, and he's just acting horribly, and I'm like, I know he's a great actor, so it was just really funny to see him like intentionally bad act, and that's sort of like Mark did in the Christmas production. So it was a good time, but it was fun to laugh with my boys. And we were walking into a store after the movie, referencing something that happened in the movie, and I'm like almost crying again, like trying to walk into a store. I couldn't even breathe. I was just laughing so hard. So it was a good time. But we've had some of those big moments in different ways, and it was just fun to have that kind of over the holidays. And we had a great Christmas season and some really awesome things with the church, and it was just kind of fun to just have that space to just laugh a little bit about just dumb humor. I like stupid humor. It's like people find corny. We like corny around here, but that's if you don't like corny, you might not like Anaconda. But if you like corny things, then
if you like corny, you might not like.
Yeah, that's true. You might not be listening to this podcast. If you're listening to this podcast, you might like corny. Kind of
embrace that though. We kind of embrace that. And here's the deal: because of the culture of honor, the people that care about us, they have to care about that stuff because you care about what the people you care about care about.
Yeah. So welcome to Cornville. But this year we're talking about, what we talked about Sunday. We talked about who we are as a church. I think we just had so many new people in our church at both campuses this year. We thought it's good to go back to square one to say who we are, why do we exist, what's the purpose of Harlow Lakes existing in a community with churches. And we call it Auto 101 right now. And so we just kind of go back to some of the basics of what our belief is and who we are as a church. We're a church that's part of a denomination, which gives us accountability. We have leadership, we have structure, and we'll get into some of those things we get in the series. But we kind of just started back at the core of why we do what we do, which is we love God and we love people. And when we do that, we want to share Christ with people by loving the people in our lives and our community. And how we do that is we have a culture of honor, which one of the core tenets of that is care about what the people you care about care about. And we look at Scripture. We were talking Sunday. We look at Scripture. if you love someone, you truly care about them. You listen to them, you notice them, you hear them, you see them, and they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel loved, they feel cared about. And the problem is there's a lot of us in this world that don't feel seen, don't feel heard, don't feel loved, don't feel cared about. And that's not the way it's supposed to be for followers of Christ. We should be valuing the people around us, so much so that we sacrifice some of our own wants, some of our own desires, some of our own needs for the benefit of others. And I think that's the hard part. We're just such a selfish society now in 2026 in the world. And we're supposed to be unselfish for each other, for Christ. And so, when you hear that, how do you guys process some of that? How do you live out caring about people and loving people?
Yeah. I just heard a stand-up comedian talking about how, we in 2026, she's hoping people drop self-care because it's just an excuse to be selfish. She's like, it's not self-care that you stood up my birthday party because you wanted to take a bubble bath. That's not self-care. So it's the idea that
Mom.
Yeah, exactly right. That would be a funny joke. Actually, that would have been hilarious.
She could borrow that one.
But I mean, really, when I think of the things that especially as I'm getting older, the things that make me excited are the things that I get to do with other people. And the things that I get to show up and be there for other people. And so when I think about why that is, it's not because I am necessarily not a selfish person. It's because the culture of honor, the idea that we train ourselves to care about what people care about, is I think that's a cornerstone of starting to think like that. And I think it's rewired my brain to go, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to love this person and show them love, not because they're necessarily even going to reciprocate that. I don't actually go into it with the expectation that they're going to reciprocate it. I'm just excited that there's another thing that I can get involved in that somebody else likes. Yeah. And somebody did that to me the other day. One of our students, actually, Nick Newman, was like, hey, I know you love Lord of the Rings. You're obsessed with Lord of the Rings. He's like, so I went and I started reading the books, and he's like, and I wanted to just so you could talk to me about it. And I'm like, that's awesome. But I also think that's exactly how people feel when we put the effort in to care about the things they care about. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a cool,
Yeah.
So I love that. And when you start talking about getting rid of the selfishness, it's no, when we prioritize, it should start to make us happy to do things that aren't about us.
Yeah.
Right? That's how we should start to retrain our brains, because then it goes from oh, I want to do this thing because it's selfish. Yeah, selfishness is easy. Doing the right thing is often pretty tough. But if you can get into the habit of doing it, then it becomes easier, and it really becomes something that brings you great joy to do and to be a part of. So,
yeah, no, that's cool, man. It's something that kind of resonated me when you said that was, this idea for me is what struck me is this concept I have that we don't really get it until we give it away. Mm-hmm. And once we give it away, that's when God is revealed. Mm. And I could say that when I think of the world often says, in order for me to get, somebody else has to lose. Mm-hmm. But God says, no. Every time you give, you get tenfold back. Right. Mm-hmm. But it seems counterintuitive to maybe the way we think as people when we are extraordinary in our own sense. Mm-hmm. And so often for me, that is revealed to me when I give. Mm-hmm. And when I can make somebody else greater, 99 times out of 100, it don't cost me nothing but time and a little bit of effort to care a little bit more about somebody than myself. Mm-hmm. And I know because I spend quite a bit of time on the phone, and most of the time on the phone, it's really just somebody wants to be seen. Somebody's calling and say, hey, I need to be seen, and I know that you care. I know you don't want anything from me, only everything for me. Right. And I think there's a lot of beauty, and I think there's a lot of power. For me, that's where I find myself, just where God just shows up in my life time and time again.
Yeah. Right. I think caring about people is really profound in a world that is selfish, because when you're trying to be selfless for people, it should be noticed. It should be noticeable. It should be different than, it should feel like countercultural, because everybody's just all out for themselves. If you're all out for other people, it should feel like there's something different about that person. I think that's really my heart and hope for our church. I don't care. I really don't care if this church ever grows. What I care about is, are people going to say there's something different about Heart Lakes? And it's when they figure out what it is, it's Christ, that we love people like Jesus does. And that should change people. And I think if we really live that out, it should change people, and people should want to come be part of a community of that loves like that. And so I think it is kind of a cycle that we just have to create by loving people and being selfless as we can be. I mean, life is inconvenient at times when other people are going through stuff, or they have needs, or they just need to be heard or seen or loved. But that's just part of what it looks like. We all go through seasons where we need people to love us when we're unlovable, love us when we're hurting, love us when we're broken, love us when we're sad, love us when we're experiencing joy. Just do life together, and that always requires some kind of selfless action on the behalf of the other person to get involved and invested in our life. It also requires us to do that for other people. And I think sometimes we get so busy with our own stuff, we forget other people matter more than we matter, in the sense of we got to care about people and care about what the people we care about care about.
I think when we talk about care, right, the heart of care is love, right? And when you look at like how does love manifest in our lives, when we talk about the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. None of those are niceness, right? Like none of those are just be nice. None of those are be happy, like because there's a deeper level to the idea and the concept behind what those things are. And so I when we talk about like what does care require, well, it requires love and kindness to people you're around. But kindness, I think one of the things I think is a problem is we've been conditioned to be really nice. Like walking down the street and smiling at somebody is nice. That's not necessarily kind. Like there's no commitment or connection to that, right? Like you're just doing a nice act. And it's like, and sometimes kindness can be nice, but niceness is not always kind. Like and so it's like the example I would give is like, it's nice to not tell somebody that they've got something stuck in their teeth. But what's actually kind is to say, hey, you've got something stuck in your teeth. One of them is uncomfortable and one of them is not, right? And one of them is actually caring for the person and one of them is not, right?
Yeah, so that makes me think about something as an example. I don't know why, but this won't land with people if you're listening unless you know what a VHS is. But back in the day of Blockbuster, you probably remember this, right?
Oh, yeah, the Blockbuster.
Back in the day of
gosh,
Blockbuster, you would rent VHSs before DVDs.
Yeah.
And it would say, they'd have big signs up, and they'd even put stickers on it. Please be kind, rewind.
Please rewind, yeah.
It's not please be nice, rewind, because please be nice, I could hand you a VHS and smile at you walking through the door that I just didn't rewind.
Yeah.
It's nice. Hey,
yeah.
There you go. But if I really care enough, I'll spend that 3 to 5 minutes to rewind that thing before I take it back, because that's kind, because there's some employee that has to rewind all those. Now, we don't have to do that anymore. If you don't know what VHS is, you're lost. But like, it really is the case of this of what we're talking about. Kindness requires some kind of innate action that takes time and investment. Nice doesn't. You can just smile and you can just, hey, it's all good. And so I think it's the same thing with a tip. I can be really nice to the DoorDash driver. I can smile. I can say, hey, thanks for doing that. That's nice, and give 0 tip.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not really kind. It's just nice. And so I think that's a good example. I like how you say that. Caring about people, nice is part of it, but it's a very small part of it. Kind is way more intentional, way more selfless, and way more action-oriented. And I think love needs to be action-oriented for it to really, I think, feel like love for people and for them to understand that's the love of Christ through us.
And I would think, I would argue, at least for myself, and I think in building relationships with other people, I think they would agree when they get authentic relationships, like unhealthy relationships that people haven't really gotten out of their system, or people who are like, no, they're my best friend and they're not, but people who have healthy relationships, I think would identify that they would much rather their friends be kind than nice. Mm-hmm. And I would much rather have my friends be kind. And then that means, I loved, you said this in a sermon I want to say a month and a half ago or so, and you were talking about truth and love and how the correlation between being truthful, being honest with people. And you said that truth without love can be harsh or brutal, right? Mm-hmm. But love without truth is hollow. And I love that idea when we talk about really the culture of honor is a culture of love. Like if you honor people, if you really love the Lord, you're going to work to do whatever you can to outwardly show that love by honoring the people around you. And so that first pillar, that care about what the people you care about is this call, not just to do this very face value thing, but to be kind and to invest yourself in somebody else's life. And that, with that kindness, right? When we talk about kindness, the actual genuine kindness, it means sometimes that you have to be truthful. Like you have to, if somebody cares about something that's detrimental to them and you find out, caring about them and caring, what they're involved in, kindness may require you to say, hey, what you care about right now is not actually very helpful for you, right? But you don't know that if you don't make that investment. And so I think they're very intertwined, because when you start talking about what does honor require of me, what does love require of me, I think love requires us to be kind to the people who we are in relationship with, instead of just a commitment to surface niceness. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because listening to that kind of struck with me. I spent a lot of time working with veterans, first responders, and that is a disclaimer I often have, because I'm talking to people who are struggling with addiction, with process addiction, and really just with their life working. And I often have that same, I call it my disclaimer, speech, but it's that, hey, look, I want nothing from you. I only want everything for you. I only want you to reclaim your life. With that, sometimes I'm going to say things that is going to upset you. If that upsets you, that's about you.
Right.
Because I love you with all my heart. And the reason why I love you is I'm the person who will tell you the truth. Most of the world won't. And I will, because I love you that much. Yeah. And being able to have those relationships, those are like money in the bank.
Yeah.
I remember, so for people who are listening for the first time, I used to live with Cyle. I lived in his basement. Mark lived in my basement. He just got married.
I helped him move out.
Right there. Yeah. Right. And, but I mean, one of the reasons was because that's a lifestyle that we both have committed to, and we feel like is the best way to really build a relationship and disciple and teach and train and equip and like do life together. And, one of the things that Cyle said to me when I first moved in, was, I love you enough to say things that will make you hate me. And that was really it was visceral. Like when I heard it, I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, I'm not going to hate you. And then I remember the first time we had to have a really uncomfortable conversation surrounding truth. And I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Right. Like, and I don't hate you, but I do understand the idea that you're willing to say harmful, things that are harsh and truthful in an effort to make sure that I have the best chance at doing the things that will honor the Lord the most. And I do think all of these things this is the next level of the culture of honor, right? As you really dive into what does it mean to really care about somebody, not, as you invest yourself in somebody else's life, what does that look like? There's a men's group called The Return, and they have retreats, and guys go on the retreats, and there's been a lot of guys at our church that have actually gone on those retreats, and they come back and they're just, this was amazing. This was great. But one thing they say regularly that I don't know if they created it, but because I think I've heard it other places, but one thing that they say is who's your 2 a.m. friend? Who's the person that if you called at 2 a.m. would drop everything and would come and help you with what was necessary, in your life. And I think about that, and I think when it comes down to it, I think that's what people desire. I think that's why genuine relationships, in Christ, kind of rock people to the core, because it's I've never had anybody that would do that. And then you start to realize the people who would do that are the people who have a love for Jesus.
Or we haven't been selfless enough to listen to
exactly.
People. Let people be that for us, which is, I think, a bigger problem. It's we're so selfish. Anybody that says anything negative, we got to cut them out, because I don't want that in my life. But you need to be people who are going to tell you the truth lovingly. Those are the people you actually need in your circle. Those are the people that make you the best version of yourself. And as a church, that's our goal. We want to care about what the people we care about, not so they get their own way, but now so they know that we feel love, We hear and see their life. We understand their perspective. And although it may not ultimately change the decisions we make in our life, we understand their perspective. We always take it into account. And so I'm always trying to take people's opinions in account, whether or not it changes my ultimate decision. I'm trying to give them value by making sure they're heard and, their perspective is known. And so I think that it doesn't always feel valued to people. They don't feel like, well, you heard my perspective but didn't listen to it. Well, I don't think love is listening to what someone's demands are. It's hearing the demands and saying, hey, I appreciate that, but this is ultimately what we're going to decide or what I'm going to do. And I think it's a different tone, it's a different perspective. But once you get to that place, it's so much more healing, it's so much more helpful, and I think it's easier to have relationships with people. And so I think we see the example in Christ, loving people, but also having some truthful conversations at time in a very loving, honest, real way, while giving people hope at the end of it that leads to joy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is based really on the solid nature of that relationship, right? Because I think we all have people in our life, if they came up and they were like, tell you something maybe that landed kind of hard, we all might have somebody that we could be like, I didn't really land right. But for the people in your life, if Kyle comes to me and he says, hey, Ryan, we got to talk about this, I'm going to sit down and go, okay, what happened and how do I correct this? Even if it comes at me harsh, because I know that there's nothing but love there. He's only going to look for me to be successful. He only wants the best for me. And I think that the more we look for people like that, the more we see people like that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that Jesus didn't say, they'll know that you're my disciples by how you follow the rules.
Right.
Right? Like he said, they'll know you're my disciples by how you love one another. And when talking about care and what that looks like, that is that first step. Like that's how what we do is different than the rest of the world. That's how when you're talking about what makes Huddle, we just had that conversation last night. That I was out to dinner with somebody and they were like, I was like, what makes us like Huddle? Like what makes us different? And they're like, we build community, and like it's not original, right? Like I really have been thinking through this idea of like it's not special, it's just personal, right?
It's
or like
the first church did,
right?
Built community.
Exactly. Like it's not like what we do is unique, or like the idea like no other place does this. No, other places do it. Like, but it's real for the people that do it here.
It's authentic
and it's personal, right? And so that I think is one thing. That one thing that I think when you talk about what is this really? Why is the culture of honor so important? Why does this matter? Is because it gives us a metric. To me, it gives us a metric, almost like a litmus test for, do you really believe the things that you say you believe, and are you willing to live them out? Right.
A good example, and kind of we'll end with this one just as a perspective. We all just went to see Gary Eastridge. His mom passed away, and we all just we're a little late starting this today because of that. And it was just the staff went over, people were there from the church, his life group, and I had talked to him the other day, and it's just a really hard time it was a surprise loss of his mom. And so his response to me and how, like, he's just so thankful for our church, and the way he described it was, we've got more food than we know what to do with. People are just coming out of the woodwork making food to provide care for us in this time, and I've got 14 people coming to help me move my mom out of her place, some of which he doesn't know. They're just going to show up Saturday, and this is days after she passed, 4 days after she passed, and that's what love looks like. And his response to me is how he's feeling the love is people are just showing up unconditionally, giving of their time, caring about what matters to him, and just showing up and providing meals. And so that's what love looks like. People are sacrificing time that they could be doing on Saturday, something else, I'm sure. They're taking time away from their families to make meals, but that's what love looks like. We care about what the people we care about. And people got a chance to show him love by caring about his mom, because that's what he cares about. And so I think that's for our church. That's just who we need to be. And if you want to be part of Heart Lakes, that's a core tenet of who we are, is that we got to care about what the people we care about, have conversations, build relationships, get to know each other, show value, make people make people feel seen and heard and loved, so they know Jesus Christ is real and tangible in the relationships that we have. So we hope you are going to enjoy this series, a Huddle 101. We hope you can live it out. And if you need to know more, stay tuned for more in the upcoming weeks and sermons. We'll see you around Huddle.